Okay, back on the Alfa 190, we're actually doing some paint. I like to start with the bottom, and the paint color I'm using is a Lichtblau number 76 Model Master shot through a Badger 200 single action siphon feed airbrush. Shot at about maybe 20 pounds of pressure. And for the first pass, after masking off the areas that I wanted to keep, which are the canopy and underneath the cowling, because I like the yellow, I shot along the sides, all along the bottoms of the fuselage and the stab elevator. I also did the rudder, which isn't in the picture. And the key thing you want to remember here is to just do long sweeping strokes of the airbrush so that your latest pass melts in to the previous pass properly. So you don't want to have something that looks like a zebra stripe when you're done. You want to go fairly close to the last pass as you go back and forth. For this particular stage of the painting, you don't have to be too accurate with where you get the paint to go, where you want the paint to go. Just kind of give it a good base coat, and then we're going to be doing the detail painting later to do the upper camouflage and some of the other colors on the model. For the wing, what I did, if you can see that, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but I haven't painted the entire wing, and I wanted to show you what I do to start. To paint a large flat surface like this, I generally do the outlines of the model first, all along the wing tips, the leading edge, trailing edge, and any protuberances on the model, and I do all around the ailerons. Then I just fill in the middle. And the other thing too I wanted to note is that since we're going to be weathering this model, getting an even paint job really almost doesn't matter, because there's going to be a weathering and panel lines and dirt and grease. So it's almost better if you don't get an even paint job, because we're going to also go back and redo some individual panels to make the model just look like a real airplane. I'm still trying to determine what scheme I'm going to use. I know I wanted to do a late war model, so I'm using the Lichtblau 76. The earlier blue that the Germans used was a Hellblau 65. Although late in the war, all bets were off because they used pretty much anything. And in fact, if you look at a lot of photos or even some of the drawings, you'll see that the underside and side colors of a lot of the airplanes were almost a gray. So if you want to do a light gray, you're not going to be off by much, if at all. What I do like to do, though, generally, is to try to model a specific airplane. And with the Focke-Wulf, as you might imagine, the possibilities are almost endless. This is such a well-documented airplane that there are so many schemes available that sometimes I think I want to build 20 Alphas and do a scheme for each one of my favorite camouflages. So this book here is pretty good color reference. I think this is an Osprey. No, it's not. Histoire and Collections book. Anyway, these are pretty popular. I use these a lot for my plastic models, and you can see from the cover it has a lot of color plates. And inside, as I noted before, the possibilities are endless. This book has quite a number of schemes for the Focke-Wulf. So you could spend literally hours looking at schemes, and believe me, I have. That's the D9, which we're not doing. Here's the top scheme for the Focke-Wulf, which the Alpha model is pretty accurate. I think this scheme is actually already on the model. The Germans prescribed a certain scheme for each one of its airplanes that was supposed to be followed, and sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. Sometimes a lot of field modifications were made. So you can almost do pretty much what you want. If you want to do a fantasy scheme, that's fine too. As long as it looks real, it'll probably be fairly convincing. So anyway, so I'm gonna pick something in here. Another good book I picked up is this one here, Focke-Wulf 190 Combat Legend. And that has a couple of nice side views of the various schemes. And you can see that, at least for these drawings, the underside camouflage is almost a gray. But you know, you can't really go from drawings. Generally, the prescribed and accepted manner to document colors through paint chips. But at the end of the day, you know, you just want it to look right. So as long as you get close, it'll probably be pretty convincing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish up painting the bottom of the wing, and then I'm going to let it set overnight, and then we'll get on to the top, and then we'll do some of the detail painting. Okay, we're selecting colors for the upper surfaces of the aircraft, and I just want to show you real quickly how crazy you can get with Luftwaffe colors. What you see in front of you is my color chip chart from Eagle Editions, which I think is still available, floating around on the internet. I think it's out of print, but you can still get them. And what you're looking at are actual color chips that were authenticated against all the Luftwaffe colors, used 1938 to 1945. So that's a pretty good palette to start with when you're trying to evaluate color. Again, you shouldn't use drawings or paintings or that kind of thing because the printing processes can distort the colors, and a number of things can happen since the time the drawing was rendered and the drawing was finally printed in a book or a magazine. So while they're fun to look at to get a general idea, serious scale modelers will generally use paint chips to authenticate the colors they used on their airplanes. Now, the two commonmost colors that were used on the Focke-Wulf, that being Grau Grün 74, which is gray-green, and Grau Violet number 75, RLM 75. And what I did is I have, let me back up here. Model Master makes a whole series of Luftwaffe colors, which is why I like to use that paint. So then that avoids the whole complication of having to mix these things. And their colors are pretty accurate when compared to the chips. Some other colors too that are not in their RLM Luftwaffe line are also pretty close to some of the RLM colors, such as Ural Gray. And the common colors used for the Focke-Wulf, the 74-75 combinations on the bottom, and that's right from the jar. And on the top, the later scheme of 75 and 83. Again, 75 is Grau Violet. 83 was a late war color, and that's Dunkelgrün or dark green. So I already have one in the 75-83 scheme, so I think I'm going to do the 74-75 scheme, of which there's a lot of aircraft painted. Almost all the Focke-Wulfs in the core of World War II were painted in the 74-75 scheme. That's what I've learned. Now, they look almost exactly alike, although there's more green in the 74. And what we're going to do in any case is lighten them up. For small models, I generally lighten the colors up. The reason being, well, it's twofold. First of all, small models are made to look even smaller with dark colors. And secondly, there's another phenomenon known as scale effect. Now, this is not weathering. This is scale effect, that you should lighten the colors up to give the illusion of distance between you and a small model. Due to mist and dust in the air will tend to lighten colors between the viewer and the model or the full-scale aircraft itself. So when you're looking at a 1/12 scale model close up, since it's 1/12 scale, technically it's if that were a real life airplane, you'd be a lot further away than you are next to your model. So to account for this, you use what they call scale effect in determining the colors. And all that is really is mixing in some gray, light gray or white with your finish colors, and that's what we'll do here. Again, just to show you the paint that I'm using, it's just dumb as dirt Model Master, which is really nice, and again, it doesn't affect the foam. You can see it there. I'm going to use Growl Violet 75, and I'll use Ural Gray to get me close to the number 74 Growl Groon. The wing of the model already has the camouflage pretty well laid out, and I compared my color chips to the colors on the wing, and they're pretty accurate. So there is an option here of just leaving it alone. Now I have some overspray from the bottom, and I was going to paint the top anyway, so it's kind of a moot point with me. But I wanted to point out one more thing, and later on we'll be doing some panel lining. And I've used just about everything imaginable to try to replicate panel lines, and what I finally settled on was using a good old soft number 2 pencil. But the only way you can get the lead to grind off in a panel line on a foam model is to have painted it with a flat color first, because a flat color gives the lead something to bite on. If you were to just panel line this model as it is, you can see there's a little shine there. The lead pencil won't bite and won't give you a good panel line. So I like to paint everything first. What you could do, I guess, is dull coat it using Tester's spray dull coat, which again won't hurt the foam, and then panel line over that. But since I've already painted the bottom and I want to use these colors for the top, and I know these colors are right, what I'm going to do is simply just use my bottled colors and paint right over the camouflage scheme that's already on the model. And so this really couldn't be easier. Once you've determined the color and you have this laid out, you can do this pretty much freehand using the airbrush that I showed you yesterday, my Badger 200. If you get close enough to the surface, you don't have to do any masking. You just follow the lines. So we're going to do that. I'm probably going to do that off camera and then show you what I have. What I am going to show you how to do is on camera is the actual mottling, M-O-T-T-L-I-N-G, which is the blurry spots and dabs of color that the Germans used along the side of the aircraft. And that's done with a double action brush, and I'll show you some of the tricks there. It's really not that hard to do, and that really brings a model to life. So let me get on to painting the upper surfaces. I'll show you what I'll have, and then we'll get on to the modeling.